Hi everyone, this is Courtney from Ruby Red Farm. I am having an unexpected morning. Let me talk about what's going on. So I was getting my kids out the door today, just kind of going through our normal routine when I get a phone call right when we're getting our backpacks on. And it's the post office. Your chickens are here. I should not have any chickens coming today. I'm still in contact with the hatchery trying to figure out whether this was an error on their part or an oops on my part, because it happens. I thought I had ordered chickens for the middle of February, but they shipped on the first available day, which was yesterday. So I have, if I'm correct, 100 chicks at the post office here in Richmond that I need to go pick up on the way home. But more importantly, I've got to get a brooder ready for them. So I guess I'll show you guys how I get the brooder ready. Grandma picked these up for us. We just got home and I have a very noisy bathroom. So this right here is our brooder. We have it set up underneath our stairs actually. We had a nice benefit of this garage having quite a few steps and we took advantage of that. So my husband has built a brooder underneath the stairs. This is where we raise pretty much all of our very young baby chicks. You'll see that it has walls that are meshed. We cover those with insulation if we need to. And we have that on both sides. We have various hooks and the hanging items that we can use. I'll show you how the doors work here in a second. But first step, we get it all cleaned out, as clean as we can get it from the last batch of birds. After I've swept, I like to do a little bit of bleach water just to sanitize it. Chickens obviously can spread disease. We don't want that happening. So I put a very light layer of bleach water down, let that dry, just to add one extra layer of sanitization. Right now though, we need to go inside, and while that dries, we're gonna go and sanitize and clean all the waters and feeders from the last batch of chicks. Chickens, again, really do spread disease pretty easily. They're very susceptible to respiratory illnesses. So I have to go through and really sanitize pretty much everything that they'll be in contact with. That includes the feeders and that includes the waters from last batch. All right, that is all looking much better now. Now, when I fill up these waters, I am going to put a little bit of, this is called Chick Boost. There are a lot of different brands of this. I'm not particular to just one. We lovingly call it Chicken Gatorade because this has a lot of different electrolytes. These birds are good to go without any water, without any food for about 1 to 2 days. These chickens were born yesterday, so they're right in that prime time frame there where they're going to be fine, but we like to give them a little bit of a boost just to get their energy back and start feeling like themselves again sooner. Another thing to keep in mind when setting up a brooder is you do want to use these smaller bases. Chicks, while we love them to death, they're not the smartest creatures in the world, and they have been known to climb into the full-size base of their waters and accidentally drown. We obviously do not want to be losing chicks that we just got. You can find these pretty much at any farm store, but you definitely want to get the smaller base, even if it's just for a week or two to make sure they're safe. Next up, I'm going to get my heat lamp in place. I really need to get this space warming up. Normally we would have it ready before we bring the birds home, but since this was a lovely surprise, I need to get this warmed up as fast as I can. You want the brooder to be about 95 degrees here at the very beginning. I believe it's about 1 to 2 weeks that you need it that warm. The best way to tell, besides the thermometer, is simply to look at the bird's behavior. If you have birds that are scattered around, kind of moving, looking happy, they're good. If they're all huddled underneath that heat lamp, then you've got things a little bit too cold. And if they're all in a corner as far away as they can be, obviously then you have it a little bit too hot. Our design has a lot of built-in venting, and so if we need to, we can make it hotter or colder as needed. All right, we have light. Next up is pine shavings. Now, thank goodness we had some of these on hand already. One very important thing to keep in mind, a very hot heat lamp plus very flammable pine shavings equals a very dangerous situation. And so what I will do is I have some wire that I'm going to be actually putting in kind of a safety loop on this where it is hooked to something solid, where even if it comes off of the hook, it still will not fall. We will check on this 2 to 3 times a day as well. And so if anything starts to either look a little too dangerous or like it's not holding on tight enough, we will make adjustments. We've only had one close call, nothing went wrong with it. And we honestly use a heat lamp every year, multiple times a year because of raising chicks. So we've learned from our mistakes and we now know to have a backup plan. All right. You don't have to be real delicate with that part. In general, I like to put about 2 inches in at first. Now, I've mentioned in other videos, we do more of a deep bedding method, so we don't clean this out very often. We just keep making it deeper. And so 2 inches seems to be a good starting point. They'll move it around some. We'll get some low spots, but we'll just refill as needed. I'm gonna add my water, add my feed, and then it's time for baby birds. Now, these chick feeders that you see, they're also designed to keep the chickens from hurting themselves. These also are available at pretty much any farm store. We tend to graduate up to taking the top piece off so that they have a little bit more access as they get older. So with chicks, you really want to use something that's at least 18% protein. A lot of times people will even use up to 20. This is a growing amount of protein because obviously chicks are going to be growing. You'll see how tiny these one-day-old chicks are here in just a second. One last note about brooder setup. In general, you do want to have food and water that's away from the heat source. You also want to have options for the birds so that just in case they think one side's a little bit too hot, they can go to the other. You want them to be able to always have access to food and water, especially in these very early days.
1, 2, 3, and 4.
Time for babies. Hello, babies. These are black sex link and amber link. All right, guys, you know the drill. Be very careful. Both of my kids have washed their hands with soap and water to be allowed to do this. All right, Ellie, start moving them a few at a time, very gently, guys.
When were they born?
Yesterday.
Yesterday?
So little.
It's so noisy.
Is that all of them?
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Can bring some inside.
All done.
But these chickens are getting too old.
The way my husband built this brooder is that it has a mesh option, which is really nice for when it gets a lot hotter. But right now, though, I can tuck that out of the way and put my solid door up. The solid door makes it so that I can get a lot better heat retention and keep these birds a lot warmer. And that's it, folks. That is how we apparently put together an emergency brooder on very short notice. I suppose now if I ever accidentally order 100 chickens, I know that I can do it. This was Courtney from Ruby Red Farm, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. They're so cute. And here is everybody the next morning. Only lost a few. We ended up adding a second heat lamp just to heat the space up a little more since our garage is so cold. They're doing great.